Hello everyone, today we're talking about lipids and why lipids are so important for the human body. They're basically one of the macromolecules. Lipids are used in the human body for insulation, for long-term storage energy. They are used to regulate our cholesterol and hormones, and they are used to make up the structure of a cell membrane. So the different types of lipids are fats, phospholipids, like I said, cholesterol. And so what are they? So the fats, there's saturated fat and unsaturated fat. Saturated fat is solid at room temperature. It's your butters, your animal fats like bacon, and then your unsaturated fats are like your cooking oils, your olive oil, your liquid. They're liquid at room temperature, and those are a little bit more healthy for your body. The cholesterol is a fat that we use to regulate our hormones, testosterone, estrogen, cortisol. We can get it through the foods that we eat. And the other thing that lipids do is they make up the structure of a cell membrane, so your phospholipids. And so what we have here is I have a little diagram of the phospholipid. So phospholipid is basically a glycerol head with fatty acid tails, and they make up the structure of the cell membrane to kind of protect what all the things that are happening inside the cell membrane. Down here we have a triglyceride, which is the glycerol with 3 fatty acid tails. So basically, the fatty acids and the lipids are very intricate, and they account for a lot of important things in the human body. And so it's very important that we're eating the right kinds of fats, the healthy fats, and staying away from the non-healthy fats like the butter, the animal byproduct fats.
All right, let's talk about carbohydrates. Where can you find carbohydrates? Literally anywhere. Even in this snack bar, there are carbohydrates in it. Carbohydrates is made up of 3 chemical elements, which is the carbon, hydrogen, and the oxygen. And carbohydrates can be also divided into 2 sections, which is going to be the monosaccharides and polysaccharide. And monosaccharides, or monomers, are the building blocks for polymers, which make up the polysaccharide. And examples of monosaccharide would be glucose. And glucose is the energy form that our body uses to function our muscles, our organs, basically to sustain life, to keep us alive. And an example for polysaccharide would be what's known as glycogen. And glycogen is how our body storage or keeps the energy, the excess energy that's not being used as glucose. And glycogen can be found in animals, so not just humans, but also animals. So you might ask, how do plants store their energy? And plants store their energy in the form of starch. Other examples of polysaccharide include cellulose, which is fiber, and chitin, which can be found in on the it is what makes the outer shells of insects and mushrooms. So it can be found on insects and mushrooms. And obviously, since carbohydrate is made up of these chemical elements, it is considered as a macromolecule. So that is carbohydrate for you.
A molecule is a protein. A protein is a polymer of small building blocks called amino acids. Proteins are structurally and functionally the most elaborate. There are many proteins in our body, and one of its roles is as an enzyme. Enzymes help speed up chemical reactions. Other types of proteins are transport proteins, which are embedded in our cell membrane and move nutrients and sugars in our cells. Defensive proteins are in our bloodstream, such as antibodies of the immune system. For instance, it helps attack bacteria and viruses. Hormones and chemical messengers that help coordinate body activities are signal proteins. A protein has four structure levels. And it starts off as a primary structure, um, which is the sequence of amino acids in its polypeptide chain. Then it forms shapes called secondary structure, which is coiling and folding of the chains. They form alpha helices and beta sheets. When alpha helices and beta sheets fold, then it's called tertiary structure. It has a three-dimensional shape of a polypeptide. A protein with more than one polypeptide chain that comes together is called a, I always pronounce this one wrong. I'm sorry, I apologize. Quantary, quantitary, quantion. I am so sorry. I cannot pronounce.
Hello, so let's move to the nucleic acids, which is the last characteristics of the biological molecules. So first of all, the monomers that make up nucleic acids are nucleotides, and nucleotides are composed of a sugar, a phosphate group, and a nitrogenous base. And nucleic acids including DNA and RNA. The structure of DNA is a double helix, and the structure of RNA is a single polynucleotide chain. And RNA has a similar nucleotide to DNA. RNA has guanine, cytosine, adenine, and uracil. And for DNA, it still has guanine, cytosine, adenine, but instead of uracil of the RNA, it has thymine. And according to the video biomolecules of amoeba sisters, they said that DNA and RNA are involved in genetic information for the coding of your traits. So it sounds kind of confusing, but when you think about the food that you eat, like for example, a strawberry, when you eat a strawberry, it's actually like you are consuming all the cells of the strawberry. And in the nucleus of all those strawberry cells is DNA. Animals and plants both have DNA. Anything type of life must contain nucleic acids like DNA to direct the cells. And I want to mention about the central dogma of biology, a gene which is going to be a stretch of DNA, transcribe it into messenger RNA, which then can be translated by ribosome into protein. And the last but not least, the nucleic acids including the carbon, the hydrogen, the oxygen, the nitrogen, and the phosphorus. So I think that would be all for the nucleic acids part.